Welcome to Seven Trumpets Prepper. And guys, welcome to another edition of the Hard Truth Show. Today is going to be a very interesting conversation because most of the time we're discussing a lot of different things prophetically, end times preparedness, etc. But today I want to do something a little bit in the left field and something that I don't even see pastors and ministers, many really in the last days, approach this, is that to understand why you do something. To me, I need to understand why I don't do something. Okay. Like, in other words, the reason I do electricity as an electrician, the reason I do electrical work the way I do is because I know it's safe. To do it opposite is unsafe. And the reason I don't do the unsafe practices is because of X, Y, and Z. There's a two sides to a coin understanding kind of thing, right? All right. So with that said, I've really tried to unpack this, and I know it's the OCD in me, and probably not a bad thing, honestly, is that I have tried to unpack why it is that people want to serve Satan, the fallen one, and follow after him. And it is just deeply intriguing to me that despite the empirical evidence over millennia, that anyone that serves Satan and his kingdom, the end is never ends well. Never ends well. From to me, the reward is not worth the risk nor the end result. It all ends the same. So with that said, I'm going to get right into the presentation today, guys, and I hope you enjoy this. And please, I want to reiterate just one quick thing before we get going on this. This is not so much as importance for us believers because we've already made our election, but it is good to always have a clear understanding of what you're dealing with. But on the flip side of this, it is important to share this with those that may not be of faith. Okay. I really encourage you to share this with people, especially that I would say are agnostic or, Luciferian, satanic, occult people that you may know of in your life. I encourage you to share this with them because hopefully it will change their mindset or at least make them question their beliefs, because obviously what we're going to discuss today, Satan's kingdom and following him, is not the answer. But there has to be a logical explanation of what we're dealing with. And I have the answer at the end of the presentation. I'm not going to cover it at the beginning. If you want the answer, then follow to the end. But I am going to cover this at the very end, the answer to that. But I want to unpack this, okay? So today's conversation on this live stream, it's hard to believe that I've been at this now. I've been doing the live streams seasonally. I just now quit my job that I'd worked at for 11 years. And so I'm just back down to doing off-grid construction for myself and then helping my friend, Brother Russell, help him do construction, electrical work, and HVAC stuff. And so I've got only 2 things on the roster right now compared to 3 things that I was running. So I've got a lot more time to get back to this. And thankfully this season of Hard Truth Show streams, summertime, I can really hopefully hammer out a bunch of these. But for today, the first thing, and shalom to everybody coming in the building. Much love to everybody. I know I've not done a lot of live streams lately, but we're going to get back on the horse and ride. From the very beginning in the garden, the fall of the kingdom of mankind and dominion being handed over to Satan's kingdom, we have to understand that we have been dealing with an enemy that doesn't attack by practical means. Okay. Now, Satan does sometimes attack by practical means, but you have to understand that and when I talk about this, I know a lot of people's like, oh, Satan's doing this in my life. Satan does that in my life. People themselves do a lot to your own life. Satan really don't even need to show up on the scene, or his minions. Just go ahead and say that. Most of the time human beings are very good at self-destructing their own life. So with that said, though, when Satan does try to destroy somebody's life, you have to understand that he does so by, coercion first and temptation. and then it comes into blackmail type of behavior and extortion, and then finally under pain of suffering, and then pain of death. It is always a blueprint for, in my opinion, how fascism works. Okay, that's pretty much how fascism works, and things always disintegrate into fascism ultimately. And I know I've been preaching that message a lot lately about where America's headed, but in a year or two from now, you can look back and be, yeah, he was right. But that's okay. We're not at that point yet, so you can just disagree with Luke, and that's fine. You just have your moment of patriotism. That's cool too. So I didn't know exactly how to begin presenting this, so I just wanted to hit it from the angle that I know of. Is that from the time I was a child, you'd see these like paintings and illustrations, and I couldn't find the one that where it has like a very distant, small figure of Messiah coming back in the far distance, and it's over the city, and there's like graves popping open, there's people wrecking, there's people getting out of their cars. There's this one dude, I remember, he was like shaking his fist out the vehicle at him. It was wild, and I remember this when I was a child going to SUNday church. And then of course you see like this picture here that I think is very famous with Seventh-day Adventism. Once I left SUNday church and went to SAT Day church, and before I discovered the Father's Looney Solar Scriptural Calendar that uses both lights in the heaven and true timekeeping that was set in Genesis 1. And then, you see things like this. Now keep in mind, Messiah wasn't impaled on or put on a cross. He was put on a stake, a tree. That's another discussion for another time too. But, like, I just want to clarify that these images, like a lot of people that end up apparently for some reason in the occult and Satanism, still, they had I would say a Christian foundation, a foundation in belief, in some belief system, right? And somewhere along the line, they still end up over on the wrong side of the lane, in the wrong lane. And for the life of me, I can't understand this. I hope that if I am counted worthy to life and in the kingdom, this can be further explained to me later on, why that things are the way they are, why people, believe and do the things they are. But nevertheless, I thought it would be good to share some scripture in the very get-go. And this is some scripture that I've shared before in another presentation, but I think it's very relevant to this one. Is when you picture yourself, I picture myself constantly just dealing with the same situations in a certain sense that like Messiah was dealt with. Is that, Satan's like, I'll give you this, I'll give you this, I'll give you this. All you got to do is just bend the knee. All you got to do. And there's another explanation too, but I'm going to save that for the end of this. Bless y'all. Most I keep y'all coming in the building today. I hope this has helped you. Please make sure, like I said, share this with non-believing friends. Okay. And I'm presenting this in love today. Like, you ain't going to hear no hate speech from Luke today. I'm just speaking just analytically to people, just presenting the car facts. But in scripture, Yohasha 24:15, it says, and if it seem evil unto you to serve the Most High, right? Serve Yahuwah. Choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the deities which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the deities of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we shall serve Yahuwah. We'll serve Yahuwah. And I have already made my election. Now, am I a great servant? No, I don't think I'm a great servant. I am in this year. My number one goal is to become a better servant. I don't care what else, financial, physical, mental, assets, adventures, whatever. If it's a good year, so be it. But scripturally, in this scriptural new year that just started, I am going to strive my best to be a better servant to the Father, because I do not want to be accounted with the people of the world. And, when you look at the scripture in Acts 26:19, it says to open their eyes so that they may turn from darkness to light and from the power of Satan to Elohim, so that they may receive forgiveness of sins and a place among those who are sanctified by faith in me. Then the devil led him up and showed him in an instant all the kingdoms of the world. And the devil said to him, to you I will give the glory and all this authority. See, now keep in mind, that's another thing. Authority. Authority to whom? Keep this question in your mind throughout this presentation. For it has been given over to me, and I give to anyone I please. See right there? This also shows you that Satan's kingdom, his dominion here is right now, today. The kingdom of Yah is coming very soon, and you have to make an election whose kingdom you're going to serve, right? And the Elohim of this age, see, it's just an age. It's not forever. It's just for right now. This Elohim of the age has blinded the minds of unbelievers so that they cannot see the light of the gospel of the glory Messiah, who is the image of Elohim. And he, Yahushua, knew what they were thinking and said to them, every kingdom divided against itself is laid waste, and no city or house divided against itself will stand. If Satan casts out Satan, he is divided against himself. How will his kingdom stand? We have to understand that there is a unified front in this world right now, politically, spiritually, socially, economically. All these things, all these entities are aligned under his reign. There is very few good people in any of these entities anymore. If you look at everything on an individual basis and then go bottom up instead of top down, there is very few good, so-called real good people in the world that are in places of power today. I know that is a hard pill to stomach, but I'm telling you, this is the Carfax. Now is the judgment of the world. Now the ruler of this world will be driven out, in which you formerly walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air of the spirit that is now working in the sons of disobedience. I want to tell you something too, is that dream I had recently about the power of the air and that deity of the air and storm and power. It's interesting that the Mayan deity is associated with that as well. Just another form of Satan. So when like right now, I'm switching gears. What I've just spoke is to those of us that's in belief. But now, right now, the rest of this presentation, I speak to the non-believer. I speak to everybody, but solely today, my main focus is to the non-believers. Is because I'm asking this question to you. I'm asking this question as a collective. Do you not see? And I imagine not, because there is a blindness that apparently has been dropped on the world. Okay, I see that as a believer. And so my goal today is to try to remove that blindness from them so that you can make a clear, concise decision. Now, whether you want to serve the Most High or not, that's your business. I'm not going to answer for you. I'm definitely going to answer for me, and I got a big bill to pay, okay? So when we look, the first thing I thought would, and I got so many things to cover, but I just thought this would be a good start point when we get into the occult, is this Black Eye Club thing. I have never in my life seen so much of this as like lately. And especially since I've come to truth, like this is just a huge trend lately. And I've got more to go into this, but I just had like a collective up here right now. I don't know about you, but from presidents of the United States to Hollywood people to musicians to you name it, big wealthy people. I don't know about you, but I've never had a black eye in my entire life of 39 years, about to be 40. Like I have gotten like really nasty fights in middle school and high school because I just couldn't put up with bullies, and win, lose, or draw, I was just going for blood. So I would get in a fight and I would like come home bruised and beat up and bloodied up, or I'd drop an L off on them and I'd get me a W. I still would not come home with a black eye. Like I would be like just beat up and or beat them up, and it's just like I mean drummed on somebody's head. It's like to get a black eye, number one, you have to really land a good blow. Like it needs to be blunt force, straight on. Secondly, when you're trying to get left and right hooks on people, you're going to be catching chins, jaws, sides of heads, kidney shots, stomach shots, groin. I mean, there's a lot of places people end up landing blows when they get in a fight. But if you're wealthy and you're famous, and also you're like, let me just say, a person of great esteem. Why in the world are you catching black eyes? Number one, if you got a spouse that's doing this, you man or woman, you need to be getting rid of them. They need to go. Okay. Secondly, is why on earth is like removed from the public as you are you beat up like this? This is weird, man. Like this is like whether you're a believer, non-believer, occultist, non-occultist, like this is some weird junk. And I wanted to start from the weird and go to the deeply wicked. Okay, we're going from weird to wicked, just so you know. And like, there's a lot of occult stuff I'm covering here, so like, you have been warned. Okay, this is the warning label before you go any further. Now, when you look at this, like, I think of like the number one from Spectre. You know, like he just needs his cat with the diamond necklace petting it. And they call this Vril too. They say that apparently they put a parasite in the people's eye. And by doing it, it causes the blood vessels and all that stuff to bust and all this stuff. And then, you know, eventually it heals. But then the parasite goes to the brain, and then eventually the person's essence, their soul leaves, blah, 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 you know, and just weird stuff, guys. Just weird stuff. And they say that like this is how, like I guess lizard people and the shape shifting and a bunch of this stuff goes on. And I know I'm going down some weird lanes today, but I'm just saying this is where people arrive at these thought processes and stuff. And I'm not saying I agree with it, disagree with it. I'm just telling you, like, this is some weird stuff that goes on. And this is the new World Economic Forum chairman that was former Nestle CEO. And keep in mind, folks, this is the guy that doesn't want you to have clean drinking water at all. Okay. Like, I mean, these people are vile and wicked, evil people. And I mean, it's just nuts. But I want to start from the top down on this. You know, I'm starting from top down on this. I'm coming from multiple angles, weird, wicked, top down on the occult. But I want the people that are out there. It's gruesome. It absolutely is. I mean, please, for those in the comments section, I am just taking a poll real quick. Like I said, how many of you people have ever caught a black eye in life? Okay, unless your husband was a drunkard or your wife was a drunkard and just beat you nightly, or you just walked into the freaking door in the middle of the night because you need to go to the bathroom. Like, I mean, how in the world? Well, I mean, it's a combo. It's a combo thing. They got the black eye club. They got the literal bloody eye with it most time. I mean, like even Joe Biden had one before the end of his tenure as the president. Yeah, not ever. No, never. And I mean, I guarantee a bunch of people have been in fights even more brutal than me. And probably gave some people some ales. And see, when I was very little, I got one after a very nasty fight in school, and it took a lot. Yeah, it takes a lot to get to that point, guys. Absolutely. Yeah, it's vicious. So when you see this, right, you start coming from the top down is, you know, like The Weeknd. Man, dude, I listen to a lot of music, reggae. I listen to rock and roll, what would be labeled Christian music, country music, techno. I mean, I listen to a plethora of different music through over the years. And yeah, and that black eye thing definitely is a ritual thing. So you know, you look at all these musicians, and it just sucks because there's a lot of good musicians out there, or at least they produce some great songs. Unfortunately, most of them are just full of explicitives anymore. So I mean, you can't even, if the beat's lit, you can't even listen to it because it's an F-bomb like every 2 seconds. So but you look at these musicians, and I take The Weeknd for example, and you see the screen, and right here, this was in 2017, you can see Satan flash at the back of the screen. And for all those people that's into the cult, into the wickedness, into Satanism, like, I just don't get it if it's a click thing or if it's like you just really, really love this stuff. Because what gets me about Satanism is, like, if I say I serve Most High, y'all, look, it's a billboard, right? Billboard on my shirt today. No question asked who my master is, whether you love him or not. But with Satan and occultism, it's always like y'all got to be like out here and be like, hey, I'm just part of society, but I got to go sneak home and close my door and do my little pentagram and my candles and just do my witchcraft. Like, if you about that, then why does it always have to be like put on the sneak, like into the public eye? Like they're out here, this just like flashed real quick on the sneak in the public eye, then it's gone, and then it's back to music land. Like, why do y'all always got to just give that nod? You know, it's like the woke movement, but like watered down, because like the woke movement, everybody running around with like a rainbow shirt, and they're like, hey, this is my sexual orientation. I'm like, bro, nobody gives a flip about your sexual orientation. Like, what if I wanted to be a polygynist tomorrow? Okay. Like, what if I want to have 20 wives? So what? You know, what you do at home, that's your thing. Like, that's your thing. I don't need you out here running that around, telling me how I need to be. But it's like, you know, people that believe in the Most High are very open about it. Woke culture is open about what they're about. But why is it Satanism always has to be like, it's on the sneak? We're going to do it through types and symbols. And I literally, like, you know, I wanted to be facetious for a minute, do the whole like one eye thing. And I was like, no, I don't want to honor Satan. Then I don't want somebody screen cap this. Be like, oh, the one eye. But, you know, like, I'm just, gosh, I just want to like slap these people and be like, what the flip is wrong with you? Like, if that's who your master is, then just be open about it. They won't, well, and see, that's what I'm saying. They want you to know, guys. I fully agree with you, but they do it sleight of hand. They don't do it like, it ain't like Ford Motor Company out here that says, hey, come buy a Ford from us. And they flash the new Bronco on the screen. They're like, FORD. Combined. Like that's how they are about it. It's weird. It's weird and it's wicked. Like, I mean, like, yeah, they love deception. They love types and symbols. There is that, Brother Jolt shared it with me before, and I've shared it with you guys, is that method of revelation, or something like that. They have to tell you what they're doing before they do it to you, but they don't like to openly exactly tell you what they're doing to you. You have to like play this stupid mind game puzzle, put things together, and it's just sick. And so anyway, like, moving on, like the media culture and musicians and Hollywood actors, famous athletes, all this stuff, like they're people that's always in an elevated position, or later when they go from like nothingness to all of a sudden to an elevated position, they're always covering their eye. Like, bro, I don't want to cover my eye, especially, let's see. Now, for me, that'd be my right eye. I'd have to cover, to get their whole symbolic, right? Is that right? Is it the left or the right? Flip? I can't even tell. Anyway, they always cover an eye, right? Well, number one, I don't want to cover my right eye because I can barely see y'all. Like, matter of fact, if I put my safety glasses on to read right now, man, I actually might leave these on for the rest of the stream. But, like, you put this on, and like, I don't even want to cover my one eye, because if I did, I'd be almost blind without my glasses. And these people out here, like, you can't tell me this is by accident. Like, like, it's intentional. And then there's also now see a lot of this that I've got in this collage here. They're intentionally doing, but there's also those ones where like people's like, like they got here, I'll take this water bottle and then like drink the water. And like one of the eyes is covered, but it's very vague. Like, it's weird, man. Like, and it's so obvious, right? It's ridiculously obvious what you're doing. And then, like, now, I'm a person of empirical data. Like, I like empirical data, right? So I'm like, that statistic said that this lasted this long. That person's test said that lasted that long. And then I compare notes on things, right? It's like when I go out in the field to work for people, I'm like, well, how long has that inverter lasted in years past? 20 years? Okay, well, that's what we're going to bolt down for that guy. Like, I'm very consistent on data because I don't want problems, right? Well, when I look at this, I'm like, okay, so Eminem, I think that's Eminem up there, covered his eye. And then you've got Lady Gaga, covered her eye. And like all these photos, and it's like, guys, could you not like adjust your face before you done the photo shoot? Like, it's intentional. It's intentional. I think that's Britney Spears up there. Oh man, who is some of these people? Anyway, it's a ton of them. I think that's the one dude who plays Captain America in Marvel movies. Bunch of them. But anyway, moving on. And so you've seen like now we're in the age of AI, so you have to be really mindful of this. But like you see this where that they is people, especially female musician artists, I guess, being caught doing witchcraft, the whole pentagram thing and candles. So it's obviously that a lot of these are witches, especially women in this industry. They practice witchcraft. And what was it? Tom Brady's Giselle, I think it was, ex-wife. I believe it was in the news thing that she practiced witchcraft before his games and stuff like that. I believe that was the one the article was about. Don't quote me on that one. But there's just all this occult and witchcraft that's mingled in these people. And it's always ones of great position and power. So it starts to lead the question is, did these people make deals with Satan? And my thought process would be, yes, they did. Yes, they did, because they have to sell out in order to have the position and power in this world. And so what profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Right? Like, if I have to be a poor man in this life to enter in the kingdom and to have eternal life, no problem, bro. Do you want to just go ahead and clean out the bank account today? Just let me finish up a couple jobs I need to for people, and then I guess I'll just operate poor if I need to. But I want to make it in the kingdom. And so if I need to bend the knee and set in a pentagram and burn candles and chant some crazy bunch of witchcraft, I'm gonna head out, because that's just not for Luke. I'm just not about that. And oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Okay, so I was right about that. Okay, yeah. So, but I wish somebody could share the news article, because I believe that was in the news article too. But moving on, one of the things that was so shocking to me as of recent, and I made sure to block out the sales site, because I didn't want to give them any hope of a sale or advertisement. But this particular shirt company, it struck me so odd recently. I seen the shirt, and it had the pentagram on it. I was like, what the flip? I'm like, why, number one, why is this even being marketed to me? Unless it's just because, I do so much religious study stuff, and I guess this falls in that, religious category. But I seen all the thousands of likes and loves, and the comments was just savage. I mean, people were just celebrating it and all that. And I'm like, this is so sad. I'm like, we have such a short, finite amount of time on this earth to get things right, to seek happiness and the pursuit thereof, and fulfillment, and build a family and a legacy, and love your neighbor, and like you have such a short time. And this is the garbage nonsense. I'm trying to hold my tongue because it's Sabbath today. I want to say some other words, but this is the garbage nonsense that goes on, right? And when we get to the heart of the matter, if you're a person that's especially wrapped up in the occult, or somebody that's of faith has shared this to you, once again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, you to condescending, derogatory. What I want to ask you is, now this is some of the top peeps. If you're an occultist, would be, some of the top people at the top echelons. And Aleister Crowley, right? When he died, he was a Freemason, occultist, and a Satanist. He literally said on his deathbed, this is verbatim, apparently, what the last word spoken on his deathbed was, is, I am perplexed. Satan, get out. Okay. This is Anton LaVoy, founder of the Church of Satan. And I guess that's one of, in his glory days, sitting there. Dude, he looks like somebody from like one of them crazy, like, vampire movies or whatever. Dude just looks creepy, man. And then you got, like, seeing another thing. This is where men, a note to men right here, is that you see how this lady, she looks like a decent looking woman. There is many good looking women out there that, I mean, they look great on the outside, but inside they are full of dead bones. This right here is what you got to watch out for. I'm going to tell you, fathers, you better watch what your daughters get into, because I'm going to tell you, Satan loves to go after the weaker sex. All right. He loves to go after the female, because now he get her, he's going to get you one way or another. He's going to do his best. Algorithms absolutely follow us anymore, guys. I can have a conversation about something and it'll be popped up on my Facebook page in no time, or an advertisement or something. Right here says Freemason and Church of Satan founder Anton LaVoy. I said LaVey, excuse me. They also say that what is the one chick that is a really famous singer right now? She was country singer. She's got she's dating that football player guy, Kansas City Chiefs. I can't even think of her name right now. This is crazy. Like, I have such brain fog nowadays, as never before. Taylor Swift. Thank you so much, folks. I love y'all and I appreciate you. Like, I really do. Taylor Swift. They say that she is actually his daughter. Now, I don't know if that's true. But anyway, he said here, last word spoke on deathbed. Oh my, what have I done? There's something very wrong. There's something very wrong. There's something very wrong. Bob Dylan was on 60 Minutes years ago, and he sold his soul. Man, well, my dad passed. He passed so peacefully. We tried to comfort him if he was in any pain. He was just totally chill. And I hope so greatly I can be forgiven of all my sins and saved and enter the kingdom by faith in Messiah and see my dad again and hug him and embrace him. I look so forward to that day. He's the number one person out of anyone and all my friends and family I've ever lost that I mourn and miss so badly. And it's coming up on a year of his death, and I still miss him so badly. And I hope I can make it. And I tell you what, it gives me peace that he went peaceful. And I hope I can do the same, because I've heard of these home hospice people. I've shared it before, talking about how people just freak out when they die at that last moments. And that, you know, I'm telling you folks, this ain't nothing to be played with. At home hospice lady, she went in, and I remember her telling the story about the lights were flickering, and the guy, you know, sat straight up, and he was incapacitated, and he sat straight up and just was like in terror. And then, you know, it's like he's trying to fight to get away from him. And next thing you know, then he fell dead cold, and that was that. I'm gonna tell you, he's been some wild stuff, and you know, spirit goes back to the one who's created it. There was a man passed away recently, I think it was, in a helicopter, and there you could just see something exit the helicopter. And I'm not trying to get in the occult. I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot going on out here. I feel like the veil is being pulled back in the last days. We were in a time of revealing, and you got to understand that, like, these people were at the top tier of service to Satan. Top. Okay, these are like the generals. These are the top lieutenants in the service of the kingdom to Satan in our era, I guess I'd say, near our generations, right? And this is what these people had to say on the exit ramp. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all what, I don't know about you. I went to bed last night, and I didn't think about where I was going to end up when I woke up this morning. All right, if I woke up in judgment, then I know what I got, the bill I got to pay. If I went to sleep and I woke up today, it's another day. But I'm gonna tell you what, I'd be a little bit perplexed if I was in these people's shoes. And that's the situation that you've seen that brought those words out. That's got to be some heavy stuff. Okay, so let that be a warning. You know, like if you want to buy, it's like people want to buy a pack of cigarettes that says may cause cancer. You know, occultism may cause fear of death at the end, because you're not going to end up in the right group of people. You're going to be with the goats and not with the sheep. And so, you know, when I look at this and I see so many people fight, you know, for their beliefs in the occult and in religious liberties and such, the interesting thing to me between all belief systems is, I would say, the occult, when it comes to Satanism, the realm of the occult of Satanism, and then Islam, I have to say, are the two most militant. And the only reason I say Satanism isn't so militant is because it is such a fringe thing. It is suppressed by many faith groups, as opposed to where Islam is recognized as a faith group. It has a lot more free reign to impose its will upon others. But it is wild, it is weird, and it is wicked. And that is an excellent point that's made right there as well. I am going to touch on, you know, the sacrifice of unaliving people. I have to be careful today how we're sharing all this content. But there is those. What was his name that played in Fast and Furious? And he was like, my Sheila. Trying to think of that melanated actor's name. I've always enjoyed his acting, but anyway, I think he sacrificed, or they said he sacrificed, forget, it's his sister or somebody, or his mom, for his daughter, in place of his daughter or something like that. No, and Paul Walker, it was a melanated gentleman, one of the melanated guys that's in the series. Can't think of his name. Anyway, and Paul Walker is probably sacrificed too. You know, that was probably, who knows. So, you know, interesting that does go on. And what was the one girl that sings the holiday song every year for the pagan satanic holiday known as Sea Mass or Christmas? Tyrese, is that his name? Tyrese? Yeah, that might have been the one that was like, my Sheila. What's her name? That sang, Mariah Carey. Guys, I appreciate y'all. If I've ever had cloud brain fog, it's still, you know what? That, I guess it just goes to show you, like, I just don't care that much about Hollywood. I don't care that much about musicians. Like, I know of people, but I don't remember their names. That's how irrelevant it is to my life. I guess it's actually a good thing. I don't even think it's brain fog at this point. I think it's just, I don't give a care. But Mariah Carey, I think it was her mom and her sister died the same day. Now, I don't know about y'all. I've lost some people in my life. Okay, matter of fact, I'm gonna fact check myself real quick. Just bear with me a second. I've got to fact check that one. Mariah Carey, mother and sister. Mother Patricia and her sister both passed away on the same day. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all what. The statistical probability of that, unless you're in a car wreck, it's pretty slim, bro. Pretty slim. And yes, it was. But I appreciate you guys. Sometimes I just want to fact check myself because that's a very important touch on conversation right there. Because you all know, out the entire time you've lived your life, I can't tell you one person that their family member and them or two of their family members passed away in the same day, unless it was in a car wreck incident. Now that can be spoken to. That right there, though, no, man, no. So don't tell me that ain't some satanic blood sacrifice ritual of family members. And listen, this stuff happens more often than you think. It's not. I'm telling you. But Second Thessalonians talks about this 2:10 through 12, and with all deceivable of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause Elohim shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they might be damned, who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Now, I'm just going to tell you, like I said, I've got the answer for why a lot of this goes on. And I have the answer for why people turn to Satan's kingdom indirectly. Whether I'm talking about direct worship right now, because they know what they're getting back. They're getting self-gratification out of this right now. But moving forward, I don't care from Jezebel to Judas. I feel like the spirit of witchcraft. And I've tried to understand this, because a lot of people like in the modern world we live in, from voodoo, necromancy to witchcraft, sorcery, drug sorcery, right? I want to be very clear, drug sorcery, the thing that went on from 2019, 2024, and they told you it was a mandate and you had to take it. And I told them I wasn't participating and didn't participate and is not participating this next time. And then it can all go to hell. Y'all know what I'm talking about? That part. I'm not participating in that. This world can burn before I ever participate that. And I still ain't going to participate in that. So I get really amped up about that anymore, folks. Luke is an anti-JAB kind of guy. All right. And so, you have all this stuff. And when you really look at it, though, the reason I shared this image is because when you look at scripture, figures that's mentioned throughout scripture, Jezebel embodies, in my visualization, embodies today, when you look back in ancient times and historical, is that you see that same spirit of witchcraft embodying like these people, as you see musicians and actors and politicians today. Like, it's not, I just want people to understand, it's not a new thing. It's just, you see it in a greater level today than you did before. I think I don't know if it was Gene Hackman, I think it was, died the other day. And he was so upset. I read the news thing about him just standing in line for me. And I seen the news article. I don't want to say it was Gene Hackman. But it was the actor. It was the bad guy, the mayor in the movie, Western movie, The Quick and the Dead. And he had become so estranged from his family that they didn't even receive any assets in his will or whatever, I guess it was, because he was so obsessed with his career and the acting roles and the money. And he admitted to this stuff, is that like he literally, whether he sold his soul to Satan or not, he sold his soul to gain all that. And it's like, bro, you're dead. You're rotting in the grave now. Like, so what? Like, I mean, it's crazy. And that's interesting right there. Obama's mother or grandmother died before the election. 08, Trump's first wife was killed. Crazy, man. And that's exactly right. Material gain, selling their soul to have the whole world. Guys, listen, I'm going to tell you what, outside of the companionship of a beautiful woman, the beach and food and adventure, just seeing the world that we live in which it ain't that grand anymore. It can't even go Paris, France. It's trashed up. I mean, like, outside of just these handful of few little things, there is like nothing that gives me that rush, that dopamine hit, that happiness in life. It just don't do it for me. Okay. And I mean, you just can't get there with me. Okay. So, I'm so grateful it don't hit me like that. But I've tried to think about this too, like dealing with when in speaking to somebody that may be in the occult or Satanism, is that you know I will not be this kind of person, but I'm just telling you, I would have arrived from my viewpoint, I would have arrived at agnostic before Satan worship, because Satan, if you worship Satan, you clearly acknowledge there's a creator, whether you directly acknowledge that or indirectly, you're doing it, acknowledging it because you're serving evil, and for the evil to be present, good has to be present. But now, an agnostic person's one who neither denies nor affirms that there is a superior being. The truth value of certain claims, religious or metaphysical, is unknown. So these people are just kind of just coasting through life. And I believe right now we're living in a time where a lot of people's just coasting through life. And I'll tell you why I believe this is because a lot of people that's come to the truth, and I've seen them, they've even told me that, my content I shared that's helped change their lives. And Brother Josh Keefe on Founded Earth Brothers is pointing this out too, is that when people arrive at agnosticism, because they're not going to go into the occult like these crazy people, and they're not a believer, and they kind of end up in this middle, this blur, this neutral zone. And then they're like, well, it has to be like sentient beings made from other sentient beings or aliens or something like that. But whenever a person starts really looking into the fact that, hey, we can observe measurably that there is not curvature drop, that we're on a fixed geostationary flat Earth under a firmament dome with waters above and waters below, and that we can't get outside this bathysphere that we're in, this dome, that we're in. We can't get out of it. And whenever the people come to that realization, and I know there's people laughing about me discussing flat Earth in this right now, and that's fine. You know what? You do you, boo. But when you come to that realization and the truth and the things that Satan's blinded your eyes with by the grace of Yah has been shared to you now, and you come to this realization, then you understand, oh, okay, that's the rest of them jokers that are fallen as well, and that they're just, imitating as angels, masquerading as angels alive, right? Well, I don't want to go that slide just yet. Whenever you come to that realization, then, agnosticism really falls off the table. Atheism falls off the table, and you're left with the light or the dark. And yeah, absolutely, four corners is per scripture, absolutely. And when we keep pressing forward upon the matter, then it really becomes crystal clear what we're dealing with is definitely good versus evil. And then you see through all that's going on right now and all the control mechanisms in place, what's so handy to me and helpful about Satan's kingdom, what I have to say, one thing I appreciate about Satan's kingdom is the consistency. Is because you always know it starts with coercion and temptation, and then it goes to extortion and blackmail, then to pain of suffering and the pain of death. It is so predictable. And see, like if you look right now in 2019, starting forward with the reset, is that you see that we were in the beginning, we were with temptation and coercion. Heck, they were giving everything from marijuana to donuts to everything. And then now, then it came under blackmail and coercion, and right now there's mechanisms in place to stop violence and pain of death. But don't worry, things are always swiftly changing. Keep in mind, I just brought it up recently that U.S. citizens can be deported to El Salvador now. And I know right now that's just because of violent crime. And by the way, I forgot, I lied to you guys, and I apologize. I meant to put the links in, and I still got to put them 2 or 3 news article links in that video. Go back and do it. I still got them saved on my phone to put in there. I need to do that this afternoon. But that will eventually change to where you won't cooperate, and then they'll get rid of you and throw you out. That will be what eventually shifts. They're gonna take and put control mechanisms in. And so as I speak to believers and speak to people that might be in the occult or witchcraft, and worshiping Satan, things like that, is you need to understand something, is that you are really a peon and a nobody unless you are in the club. Okay, so you may feel cool that you're worshiping Satan. You may feel cool that's like, hey, I got my little pentagram and I got my candles and all this stuff, and I do my chants and I do my satanic music and all this crazy stuff, and I get with my homies. But you know what? I'm sure Satan takes care of his servants too. It's obvious that as long as you keep running with the role, you keep doing your blood sacrifice, keep doing your worship, you keep doing the agenda, keep moving it forward, you're gonna keep moving on up status. Hey, we all understand that. I see that that's how that club works. I also see in the end, though, that people get, unalived. And also, when you finally do unalive at the end and just die, you're going to end up in the wrong group of people, which is also no bueno. So, looking at that and knowing that, when we really look at the real power players, most all people in positions of power, the super majority of people that are in positions of power, when we really look at it at the depths, they have come from masonry, Masonic teachings, right? They have come from the Jesuits. Yeah, that's also a good point. They around till they don't need them no more. And that's also why Satan exemplifies narcissism and psychopathy, sociopathy, and people that serve him exemplify that too, because it is just playbook right down that stuff. And then you have the Jesuits, and then of course you have the Illuminati. These are all the breeding grounds by which I guess I could add the Skull and Bones Club to that. I think they robbed that from pirates. I really do. I don't think the Skull and Bones thing. I think people give that a rap, but the pirates had that first, I believe, and then the Skull and Bones Club took that from it. And reptilians, I guess we could add that one in there too, the fallen. But like this goes deep. And like if you've ever seen the Alex Jones exposition, where he went to the Bohemian Grove and there's the screams and the chants and the sacrificing and probably unaliving of innocence and you name it. And the Albert Pike letter to Mazzini that was shared in the British Museum for a long time, which they now deny, apparently, according to the word, and people seeing it in there, all that stuff. There's so much going on, guys. But when you see all this stuff, and especially like the Bohemian Grove thing's been exposed out there now, I mean, there's some crazy stuff there. And there's this one guy that went there on a kayak and broke in the place and filmed it and all that stuff. There's that part too, and this stuff goes on, and you have to understand that now a lot of the people you cross paths with out here that they like look emo and forget what the other thing. It's not emo. It's another one where people just dress all black. Goth. Yeah, all this goth look and emo look people, and they got their little pentagram and they feel like they're cool and they're tough and they're part of this club and stuff. These people that I'm showing you right now, these people are the people. Like, they make no mistake about it. These people are on the payroll of Satan Incorporated. Like, you don't have to guess. Like, I know, like from the Black Eye Club to the hand symbolism to where we at right now, like, this is the people. Know your enemy. Okay. Like military training, like, know your enemy. All right. And prepare for self-rescue because ain't nobody coming. All right. Like, this is it. And, it scripture says, and no wonder, for Satan himself transforms himself into an angel of light. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also transform themselves into ministers of righteousness, who end will be according to their works. And that's 2 Corinthians 14:15. And keep in mind, okay, or 2 Corinthians 11:14-15. But keep in mind that, what was I going to say? I lost my thought. Oh yeah, keep in mind that most people, I might have misquoted that there. I'm sorry. It's 2 Corinthians 2:14-15. You'll have to Google that one, guys. I'm sorry. I grabbed that earlier and I forgot where I grabbed it. But the the Red Hat. Everybody in the Red Hat Club, right? And supporting Trump. I have said this, and I stand behind it, that if you wanted to destruct this nation, you need two mechanisms, right? And I'm just summarizing what I've said to people, is that you need to first really destruct the place physically. and manifest such a hatred spirit toward the entity that's doing it, aka Biden. And then you need to provide a savior, a solution to bring in that's going to just fix it all, and then bring that person in, and then usher in destruction. And that is literally what we are watching in this country right now, and across the world too. And it's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly. And this always works by the same mechanization. The cogs in the wheel always run the same. And a clear example of this is if you lived during 2019, all right, all the people that participated in a thing, and I can't speak of it. I happen to have an image on the screen, but people that participated in a thing seem to be here now. And I know people that have taken and done a certain thing, and afterwards they got some really weird cancer. These are people I personally know. Please note, these are people I personally know. So don't be coming over here and be like, you don't know who we're talking about. I know what I'm talking about. These are people I personally know that either dead or sick or in the absolute last life stage process of dying. And one thing happened in their life. They did one decision. And in that short space after that decision, they're no longer in communication with me because they're no longer alive. All right. So don't bring that nonsense up in my space and give me some lecture about what I didn't and did do or didn't do right or blah, 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 because I'm still alive. And by the grace of y'all, I'm still healthy. I would like to think getting far more healthier than I was prior because I continue to lose weight too. But I'm telling you, guys, I would love to share some of y'all's comments. I cannot share them, but I agree with you 100%. I know what you're talking about. And here they are not with us anymore. And the thing is, though, if we backpedal for a second and we look at that scripture, you have to understand these people that are doing the most heinous act. See, I appreciate evil people in a way, the ones that are just open. I don't want them to be evil. I want them to change their life, be saved. But I appreciate the fact that I know what I'm dealing with. Because the really heinous evil people are the ones that wear the best mask. That's the one walking around in a pope robe. That's the one walking around as your pastor. That's the one walking around as the president of the United States. That's the one walking around as your bank loan officer that works at the bank that's actually embezzling funds out of the bank as we speak. These are all the wicked, and you know, the musician that you think is actually a Christian rock musician, but they actually live a really wicked life in the background. Like, I'm telling you, like, this is the stuff that we've got to be watchful and mindful of. Okay, I can share this comment because it doesn't speak of the thing. But yep, right there, I know some people that got cancer and didn't run their family and told not to. Yep, I know. But guys, I use that one. I use that one as a example of that we're arriving at a point where that people are being so deluded and the veil is being held in front of them, even though it's starting to get to where you can see beyond the veil on a lot of this, seems like, is that this is what happens when you deal with the occult. Because I also bring this up and would point this out, that during this time, there was so much television push for this. There was so much pressure and witchcraft put upon society to partake in this, and the end result was to just kill you. Like, the end result was to unalive you, and it's worked. It's worked like like a dream, I would almost say. And those that aren't unalived right now are not in a good position, most of them, in their life or their health, and the deception, it was strong. And you got to understand that the deception that is going to continue to transpire, I guess that the one thought I'd say on this, just to get off the occult for just a minute and just cover this real quick, is that the deception was so strong on that there was no fear of pain of death. Right now, you may have lost your job. You may have lost, you might have even had to file bankruptcy. Like, you may have just washed the whole debt clean. You might have even lost loved ones because they're like, if you don't do this, I'm done with you. But that was not under pain of death.
And what's to come is going to be probably under pain of death. And I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, like from AI to Terminator robots to biological warfare enforced by government upon people, just all the things that's going on. I got to be honest, on my bingo card for the end days, I did not have those spots on my bingo card. I really messed up with that, but I'm getting my act together and getting prepared. Remember the one about getting a free donut if you got, oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was from donuts to marijuana, man. It was crazy. They were just giving it all out. I think even they had a gun raffle one that was up. Stupid, just stupid. But anyway, the answer it shared at this is Dennis E. Kimlin, I think is the name of who shared this. And of course, one of the most important slides blurred on here. But it says Satan disguises submission to himself under the rule of personal autonomy. I see that's what happened in the garden. That's the that was the big kicker. Guys, I'll read some more of your comments when we finish up in this just a second and can chat up. Is that that's the thing where people get the disconnect. And he never asked us to become his servants. Now, I would disagree with Dennis's quote on that because I really believe he does ask. That is a big ask of those that are in positions of high authority. And not only does he ask, but there's like a process. I believe there's a process because if not, there wouldn't be the Illuminati, the Freemasons, the Jesuits, all these side satanic occult groups, the Black Eye Club and all that stuff. There wouldn't be all that. So he definitely asked. But never once did the serpent say to Eve, I want to be your master. The shift in commitment is never from Messiah to evil. It is always from Messiah to self. And instead of his will, self-interest now rules and what I want reigns. And that is the essence of sin. And that is the essence of submission. And I think that it is a very valid point that is being made by the gentleman. And if you look at it, the way that the dominion and the reign of the mankind's reign here on earth under Yah was changed over under Satan's reign is that it was more of a worship of self and self-gratification and self-service than it was to the master. And by doing so, nullified, that dominion. And if you look at it nowadays, is that's how Satan gets so many people to worship him is when you worship self. I essentially feel like you worship Satan by default because we should be focused on the Most High Yah and worship and honor of him. And it's crazy that when you put apples and oranges compare these things, is that people that genuinely serve the Most High Yah, they are committed to the cause. Now, I don't care if that's a Gentile of the nations, born of a stranger and a foreigner, however many of these Hebrew Israelites want to look at it that don't want to accept those of the nations to the truth, even though that there'll be many in the kingdom to come, or whether it's a good-hearted Hebrew Israelite that accepts that, they were originally the seed of Abraham and that, other nations can be saved and enter in. It's crazy to me that people that are of deep faith and have a clear understanding of where we're at are so solidly locked into the Father that the opposite side of the spectrum of that is those that serve Satan at this point, bro, they are locked in. Like these people are committed to the cause, which is so freaking creepy and weird to me is because like, I don't want to be sacrificing my family members. Like I could not hurt one of my baby girls or my son or my mother or my dad. Like if I could have saved my dad's life, I mean, you give him blood transfusion, do whatever you could. I mean, I'm like over here trying to sacrifice myself, save my family, not kill them. Like it's complete opposite. And it hurts me to see them hurt. And like when you think about that, the opposite of that is people that are into the occult or they're self-worshiping or self serving, is that they don't care if family members get hurt. They don't care if friends get hurt. They don't care what the cost is. You see all these videos nowadays of like women that they'll just openly cheat on their spouse. And I know men do it too, but it's a lot more women than it is men. It's just stats. That's the statistics. And you see all these videos on TikTok, and like I seen this one woman talking about on TikTok that she was getting ready to I forget who shared it. I think it was Darius M shared it on YouTube, Red Pill channel. I don't agree with all his content, but I'm just saying. He shared it. I think it was on his, and the woman was getting ready to go to Target. And she said, I'm telling my husband I'm going to Target, but I'm actually getting cleaned up, ready to go meet other men to have sex with them. And I'm like the self-serving wickedness that's in this generation is so deep that not only is it deep, but they are willing to tell the world and be proud of it that they're doing that. Like, that is just wild to me. Because if I'm going to do sin, number one, I'm ashamed I've done it. Number two, I am definitely not wanting to put it on a billboard out there and tell the world, hey, I did something stupid, continuing to do something stupid. Like, wow. But when you see that people serve self, that is the same spirit that got Satan cast out of the heavens above, because he wanted to be in the place of the Most High. Instead of serving the one that gave him literal life, he wanted to be the one in charge. Crazy, bro. Crazy. And when you see this, you really start to understand the culture, the essence of Satanism and the worship of Satan and those that follow him. And you see the narcissism, the psychopathy, and sociopathic behavior that is in people. And it is only going to be cleansed through faith in Messiah, keeping the commands and serving the Father. These people have to make a conscientious choice to change, and they have been blinded so hard by Satan that it's going to take a miracle to reach these people. And somebody said, I hear narcissism is witchcraft. Absolutely would believe that. Absolutely believe that, stemming from that. And so, you got to understand that if you look all the way back to the garden and compartmentalize to where we are today, it is the same spirit at work, it is the same entity at work, it is the same mechanisms at work, same gears are turning in the same transmission, okay? Well-oiled machine at this point. Is that when you start to lay that pattern and that template up, it's just like when we go out to do construction off grid. I put the same inverter on the wall, the same charge control system, wire it the same, program it the same, and it works the same every time. That's exactly how Satan's kingdom's working. They've got it. It's a cookie cutter template now. And it's weird. It's creepy. It's wicked. It is so predictable. From adrenochrome, the blood sacrifice rituals, to the black eye club, to the one eye thing, to the flashing, the shout out, to the all seeing eye, and the pyramid, and Satan symbology, and all the stuff, and the musicians and the movies and all this stuff. It is a lot. And it is so accessible nowadays, and so in your face, and so obvious. And we have got to break free of that. And so the last thing I'll share with you is here. Last little bit I'll share with you before I bump out and go spend the rest of my Shabbat day with my family, that's been given by the grace of the Father, is that there is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. Proverbs 14:12. Enter by the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and there are many who go in by it. It's Matthew 7:13. This, as I've continued to preach, and I don't consider myself a pastor, but I am preaching this message nowadays, is that the only solution is the kingdom of Yah. I will continue to preach that by his grace until I'm no longer breathing air or the kingdom has finally come. Is that whether the kingdom of heaven, it is equal on all sides. So I'm kind of torn right now if it's a cube or if it's a pyramid, because both of those can be equal on all sides. And it talks about Messiah being the chief cornerstone, which can also be a chief capstone. I'm kind of leaning it's probably going to be a pyramid when it comes down, because that would lean a lot of deceived people to attack it. That would lean a lot of deceived people to be against it, as opposed to a cube coming down, because many people would accept the golden city immediately. So I feel like Satan's tried to lay a foundation by stealing the pyramid and having the capstone above it and all that. Just a thought. But I'll tell you this, like the only solution is the kingdom of Yah. The only solution is to honor the Father, be good unto his people, be good unto your fellow man, keep the commandments, have faith in Messiah. Ladies and gentlemen, it is very, very clear the parameters of what we need to be doing in these last days. And the Revelation talks about those that make it in the kingdom are those that fear him and keep his commandments and have faith in his Son. Or, you know, I don't want to add to scripture. Those that have faith in Messiah and keep his commandments, which means fearing him and honoring him, right? Because, you know, what is it? Ecclesiastes, fear Yahweh, keep his commandments, do whole duty of a man. I'm just summarizing what Revelation is speaking out there, but, you know, it's obvious that those that have faith in Messiah and keep the commands are those that make it. You know, it's crazy the times we're living in, and we need to make sure our priority is making it to the kingdom. Everything I look around, I left a job the other day. Last thought I'll leave you with. I left a job the other day. I worked at 11 years. I helped build that empire from a backyard to a massive factory industrial complex that it's at today. I made major contributions to the cause. And I found it was no longer serving me, and I was serving it, and it was taking away from a lot of things that was important to me. And so I had to let it go and moved on. And there is a lot of things in our life right now that you need to do inventory. You need to consider, is it serving the kingdom? And do I need to hold on to it? And if not, let it go. Because my top priority right now is making the kingdom. Everything around me, everything in this room, everything is irrelevant. It is going to pass away one day. It's going to be no more, including the body that my spirit's inhabiting. If time progresses, it will wear out and I will have to exit stage left. And so knowing these things, I want to make this, what's on the screen, priority number one. And I hope that we all can make it there together. And I encourage you to take this information that I've shared today. And I know there's many people in our lives that would consider themselves agnostic, atheist, pagan, or a worshiper of Satan. I hate to say it, they're just Luciferian. These people need to see this information and digest it. I'm not trying to talk down to nobody. I'm just telling you, like, that from the bottom up, there is all sorts of ramifications for participating in this type of lifestyle. From the top down, the people that have guided this lifestyle, especially in the recent years and in our generations that is alive right now, them people died in fear on the deathbed of what they saw and what they served. That should terrify anyone. That should make the hair on your head stand up if you are one of these people that's been in the service of Satan. This is some serious business. And ladies and gentlemen, the only solution is the Father, his commands, and his Son. And if you want to enter in the kingdom. So to everyone out there today, I hope this has been a help to you. I hope I've said something that can enlighten somebody, especially that is out there in the world that needs to hear this. And guys, as always, till we see again here, Seven Trump's Prepper Channel, I hope Most High Yah Baruch you, keep you, make his face shine upon you, show you favor, and give you shalom, my friends, in Yahushua name. Guys, I love y'all, and we will see you on the next round.